On my way to another destination, I was passing by these cliffs here. There was some really cool jagged edges across the top. There was some clearing clouds on it. It looked really atmospheric and really awesome. It's just right off the side of the road, so you can probably hear the traffic going by. I'm just stopped right on the edge of a field, just shooting up at these, breaking clouds over here on this cliff face. And it's just gorgeous with all these. It's just kind of the iconic thing you see in Iceland with the landscape, the dark volcanic rock with the green highlights. It's just, I love it. I love it to death. And then add to that the breaking clouds and atmosphere, and it just makes for a really cool pano. So that's what I've gone and set up here with my Nikon 150mm f5.6. I had some time to kind of play a little bit because when I first got here it looked really good. So then I set the camera up and got on the dark cloth, and then by that time the cloud had engulfed the entire cliff face, so you couldn't see anything. So I had some time to kind of wait for that to kind of dissipate so you could see more detail. There's some horses down here in the bottom of the composition, and I actually thought about trying to include those, but ultimately decided not to. When I was under the dark cloth trying to focus, one of them came galloping up to the fence and started kind of rearing up. And I thought it was me that it was stressed over or something, but actually there's another opposing field on the other side of the road, and it was reacting with those horses over there. But yeah, it scared the living daylights out of me. I came ripping out of the dark cloth like, what the? Ready to fight, So anyway, I shot this on Fuji Provia 100F color reversal film. I think it'll do really well with it. The dynamic range fit well within the bounds of color reversal film. Both of those exposures were f/37, 1/2, half a second. But yeah, beautiful shot. Something I've had in mind driving through this area for some time now, kind of keeping my eye out for something like this. I just noticed looking way up there at the top of this cliff face, there's a whole bunch of basalt columns there. That's really cool. I'm not sure if that was in my composition. I had a bunch of clouds. I don't know if it was covered or not, but it's a really awesome detail. Those basalt columns are just so awesome. But I think that's about it for just quick roadside stop, and then I'm heading on.
The first frame had a lot more clouds in it, and my thinking at the time was that they would add more atmosphere and drama to the scene. But in retrospect, I think they obscure too much of the detail along the ridgeline, and I'm glad that my second frame was taken after the clouds had dissipated a bit.
So we're about half hour from sunset right now. And I was headed out towards a viewpoint that has a lighthouse. And on my way, actually just like opposite of that lighthouse, there's these just awesome set of cliffs, these jagged tips on them. They got a bunch of atmospheric clouds passing over them right now. They're more impressive to me than the lighthouse was. So I am set up with a 5D Mark IV, shooting a vertical panel. About a half a dozen frames just all stacked together. And now the sky is starting to open up above it a little bit, and I can see some of just a little bit of sunset color, like warm glow of the high clouds underneath it. So now I'm kind of getting my hopes up, hoping that I'll get some atmosphere down here on these, on these peaks, but then the sky will do something interesting for sunset too. So this is all about just taking a set of frames and then watching it, because it's constantly evolving. The scene's always moving. So, I'll take one set and then I'll wait a while and it'll do something cool, and I'll take another set. It's really just about waiting it out and seeing what it does. It's already amazing. It's just kind of standing your ground to see if it does anything above and beyond. And in any case, it's absolutely beautiful. This is starting to get really good now. The sky's opening up above it. It's kind of giving me just a little bit of some blue sky coming through with some high clouds too that are a different color than the lower, heavier clouds. But the dynamic range is higher now, so I switched over to auto exposure bracketing. So every time I take a vertical frame here, it's taking 3 exposures. The base exposure, then a +1 and a -1. And then when I get back home and try to stitch this together in Lightroom, I'll have a lot of exposures, but it's, you know, get enough detail and enough resolution there. But it's worth it. This is turning out better than I expected. Totally not what I came here to shoot, but it's a really nice surprise to see something like this just pop out. Just trying to be as opportunistic as I can, and this was a great opportunity. So I'm hiking on my way down to the Studlagel Canyon, something like that. It's supposed to be this canyon with a bunch of really cool basalt columns, and I'm on my way down there to photograph it. Just a little bit of a hike to get down there in the parking area. And it's a nice burning bright blue sky day today. There's a couple waterfalls you pass on your way down. One of them's also got basalt columns, looked really nice. And it just so happened to where the sun is in the sky was lined up just perfect to where the top of the waterfall was obscuring the sun, leaving you just, you know, a big burst of light kind of bleeding out over the top of the waterfall. It looked really cool. So I went ahead and shot that. And then I stopped my aperture all the way down and took a longer exposure, about 1/3 of a second. And that was just to get the smooth water that I was looking for on that. A little more smooth than just a jagged like cell phone looking photo. And then put all those later together, and here's what that looks like. This is definitely a really cool canyon. Well worth the hike. It's interesting to see. The basalt columns are always really cool to look at. It's a really interesting photographic subject as well, just because of all the geometry and the shapes, repeating patterns. I think it's really interesting. But I set up with the 5D Mark IV and took some shots, some with and some without my Lee 6-stop ND filter, just because I wanted to try smoothing out the water a little bit more. And then also my Lee landscape polarizer to remove a little bit of glare off the water and the shiny rocks and such. But I don't know if I have very high hopes for these exposures. The lighting conditions just aren't very good. The sun's high and it's really harsh. I knew that coming in. Some of these locations, like I knew before I even parked the car, the light was going to be too harsh to shoot this. But I hiked all the way down here anyway to shoot it and check it out. And if nothing else, just scout it. You know, and if these shots are just more record shots for later, then that's totally fine. And then a later trip, you know, if I decide to come back, I know the lay of the land. I kind of know what to bring with me on the hike, you know, what to expect when you get down there, and all those same sort of things. So, yeah, it's well worth doing, whether or not I keep these exposures. So, but here's those exposures, and let me know down in the comments what you think. The Buddha Kirke, or the Black Church. I don't think that's what it translates to, but it is a black church. Let's just this super cool looking structure just out seemingly in the middle of nowhere. It's been high on my list ever since I first started researching Iceland. So I saw it in a Mads Peter Iversen video. So I owe credit to him for this because I wasn't aware of it until I saw that. And I've actually completely ripped off his composition too. But it wasn't the first thing that I went to. I've been orbiting this church here for the last 20 minutes, just taking different shots, just taking a variety of wide and more medium focal lengths, and then a couple zoomed in detail shots of the door. But I don't know what it is. It's about just this black church in the middle of this awesome landscape set out kind of on the coastline. I got the perfect backdrop of just moody, just clouds. I mean, it's kind of grayish, but that's what I'm going for, is really mood and drama, But even just like the border that goes around it, it's just these awesome volcanic black stones with these cool black panels, and there's an information plaque over there I still got to go read. But on the very top of the steeple says 1847. I don't know if that's a build date or what, but man, it's super cool. My original intention was to shoot film on this one with a 6x12, 1:2 aspect ratio. I thought that would look really cool with black and white or something like that. But it's been raining all day and all night, and it's just been hammering it down, and it's just not going to work very well with the view camera. So I'm just going to stick with the 5D Mark IV, which is weather sealed. It's getting a soaking right now, but and so am I. So yeah, I think I'm just going to call it good there. Just an awesome subject. Super glad to be here. It was high on my list. I'm glad to have it checked off. Really, really cool. Cool looking photos too. So the whole last day, ever since last night, it's been just downpouring. It just will not stop. I've been driving several hundred kilometers to get back to the airport from where I was. I was on the total opposite end of the country. And I just cannot get out from underneath this rainstorm. It's either been following me or it's been just building and building the whole time. But I look on the radar and the entire southern end of the country is completely covered in moderate to light rainstorms. So it's kind of a bummer to get rained out on the last day. It's my last full day here in Iceland. Tomorrow is a travel day to get back home. So my original plan was to hit a few other locations that didn't pan out, and I was going to camp again tonight and just pack up my stuff and get ready for tomorrow. But instead, because it's raining so bad, and so I could have a dry place to pack my luggage, I got myself a hotel. So I'm just going to stay there for the night, and I'm parked up, going to get some food, go back to the hotel, pack up my luggage, and then head home. It's been a good trip. Seen a lot of stuff. Pretty happy with the way things went. Even though I did get rained out on the last day, it's okay. It's been great. So thanks for watching. If you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, hit that thumbs up button down below. It really helps the channel out. Maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there if you want to see more videos from me. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.